If you are just joining us, you are joining us at one of the magic moments in the sport. Double fault! Michael Chang has won the match.
It had been over 2 decades since the open era of tennis began. The likes of Ivan Lendl, John McEnroe, Jimmy Connors, Mats Wilander, and many other top players dominating the ATP Tour during the late 80s. 17-year-old Michael Chang was pitted against the world number 1 Ivan Lendl in the 1989 French Open fourth round. Tennis fans around the world were sure that Ivan Lendl would win without breaking a sweat, but little did they know, this hot summer day in June of 1989 would be remembered as one of the greatest upsets in tennis history. Michael Chang, slicing barriers in tennis. Before turning pro, Michael Chang reached number 157 in the ATP as an amateur, and was the youngest male to win a main draw at the US Open at the age of 15. After these successful years as a junior player, Chang opted to drop out of San Diego High School to become a professional tennis player. This brings us to the 1989 French Open fourth round. Chang had just given up one set in his first 3 matches, including a win over fellow American Pete Sampras. This match would prove to be the opposite. Chang's strategy going into the match was an offensive counterpunch. Take Lendl's power and spin and send it right back to him to oppose Lendl's power baseline playstyle. Playing like this allowed Chang to make up for his lack of height and power, something that is considered very important for professional tennis players. In the first set of a best-of-5 set match, it seemed as if Lendl was controlling the pace of the match, with Michael Chang playing his usual playstyle, where he used his speed to keep up with the power and strength of how Lendl played. In the end, though, Lendl finished strong and ended the set 6-4 in his favor. The second set seemed to be no different, as Lendl continued to put the pressure on Chang, dictating points and playing as everyone expected him to play. This set resulted in another 6-4 win for Lendl, putting him only one set away from advancing into the quarterfinals.
Well, we got there. Beautifully played by Ivan Lendl. Michael Chang, for all the world, thought that he had that point, and instead Lendl got to the ball, and not only got to it, but hit it for a winner to take the second set.
At this point, the only chance for Chang to win this match was to win the next 3 sets in a row. His mentality going into the third set was just to win one set, and states in his autobiography, Holding Serve, Persevering on and off the court, that it was all he wanted to do against the number 1 player at the time. Throughout the set, Chang's serves and ground strokes had more depth, and he was starting to direct the pace of the match into his favor. In the first 2 sets, Lendl excelled when there were important points on the line, pressuring Chang into making unforced errors. But here in the third set, Chang took these opportunities away from Lendl, and after a long-fought battle at 5-3 in the third set, Chang had won the third set 6-3. This was the first set that Lendl had lost in the whole entire tournament so far, and he was surprised to see that Chang was still threatening a chance at taking this match.
He hit it out, and Michael Chang has won the third set, 6-3 against the number 1 seed, Ivan Lendl.
The fourth set saw a change in the tone of the match, with Lendl starting to get heated at Michael Chang's rock-solid defense, showing his agitation by sighing and loudly talking to himself whenever he lost a point, indicating a start to when his anger would get the best of him. This is a great showing of how mental fortitude is important during any tennis match. Since Lendl let his anger cloud his decisions, his mentality during the match was compromised. Lendl tried attacking Chang's weaker backhand in a futile attempt to regain his footing, but Chang's impenetrable defense seemed to have not broken down, frustrating Ivan Lendl to no end. At 4-2 in the set, it was game point for Chang, and during this crucial moment, a questionable call came from one of Lendl's ground strokes. Since clay courts leave a noticeable mark whenever the ball is hit, Lendl called umpire Ings to check if the ball was in. The shot was officially called out, and after a back-and-forth dispute between umpire Ings and Ivan Lendl, Lendl returned to the court, reaching his breaking point and erupting in shouts.
A point penalty gives the game to Michael Chang. Going from bad to worse for Ivan Lendl.
This resulted in Lendl getting a code violation, and since it was his second violation of the match, Chang had earned a penalty point, subsequently giving him a 5-2 lead in the set. Chang took advantage of Lendl's fragile mental state and hit moonballs for the next game, hoping to have Ivan Lendl make unnecessary errors. This worked, and the fourth set ended with a 6-3 win for Chang. The fifth and final set of this match perfectly shows what it means to have grit and sheer determination. The first two games saw Chang beginning to develop obvious cramps in his body and displayed minimal movement during his play. His serve and ground stroke speed saw drastic decreases in speed and power, making it obvious that he was starting to suffer through serious pain. This set saw Chang moonballing his way through games, and it seemed as if Lendl's strategy was to keep Chang on the court until he physically could not bear the pain of the cramps.
Started looping balls, and then I think obviously he figured out that I was struggling physically. Why he didn't necessarily start drop shotting me, angling me, making me run corner to corner, I'm not really sure. I think his mentality was, well, I'm just going to keep him out here until he just keels over and can't play anymore.
Chang guzzled down water and bananas every chance he could, even getting a code violation for taking too long in between points. 2-1 in the fifth set was when Chang started to think to himself about the outcome of this match. He was 17 years old on the most famous clay court in the world, going up against the world number one. If he had quit then, he would be known as the kid who could not fight off Ivan Lendl. He started walking to the umpire in hopes of forfeiting the match, and had a thought pop in his head. His mindset was to finish this match regardless of the outcome.
I started to actually physically walk toward the chair umpire, and I got to the service line, and I got an unbelievable conviction in my heart. My goal right now is to finish this match, whether I win, whether I lose.
At 4-3, it was Michael Chang's serve. He was about to serve, and in a spur of a moment, he decided to serve underhand. Since it had so much side spin on it, Lendl was unable to hit a decent shot off of the serve. Chang was able to punish quickly. With a moment of luck, his shot clipped off the net and off of Lendl's racket, sending it high into the sky. Chang pumped his arms furiously, with the crowd laughing hysterically at the events that had unfolded. At this point, it seemed as if the crowd's full attention turned to Michael Chang. The tables had turned now, and it seemed impossible for Lendl to win this match anymore, as Chang had too much momentum. Lendl did not seem mad or furious, just disappointed at himself. Finally, after this long fourth-round fight, match point came for Chang. He settled on doing something he had not done since his junior days. He walked up to the service line to receive Lendl's second serve. The crowd whistled with delight, shocked at such a bold move. Lendl tried getting a code violation for Chang, but since Chang was not directly distracting him, no violation was called. Lendl tried to regain the little snippet of focus he had to pull together a second serve, and with a stroke of luck, Lendl had served a double fault. Chang collapsed with tears of pain and joy, as he had just defeated the number one tennis player in the world in this captivating match. Chang would later go on to win the French Open final against Stefan Edberg, and is the youngest male to ever win a Grand Slam, a record that still holds up today. This hot summer day in June of 1989 proved to be one of the greatest upsets in tennis history, and numerous other Asian tennis players followed in his steps, such as Kei Nishikori, Lee Na, and Naomi Osaka, all who are players that have risen to the top level of tennis. This match proved that even during pain and anguish, there is always a way to pull through and succeed.